Hi everyone, Warren Jewell here of Jewell Realty and Realtor at Exclusive Properties, and today I wanted to take you through my personal experience of house hacking. I'm actually in the building that I purchased now. I still own it, I still live here, and I'm still able to drastically reduce my expenses by collecting rents that cover the mortgage and other expenses associated with the property. So in this subsequent video, I'm going to walk you through step by step all of the numbers, including the purchase, the cash that I needed to close on the property, and an entire year of profit and loss to show you what you can expect on a monthly basis. And then the year after, I take you into when I got the property appraised and saw that there was a ton of value added. So if this is something that you could see yourself doing in the future, if this is something that you're interested in, click on the link above, go to my website, and schedule a free phone consultation with me, and we could walk you through step by step what needs to be done and if it's a right fit for you. Now keep in mind, this isn't a sales pitch on some educational system or anything like that. I'm just suggesting that if you're interested in purchasing something to house hack in, I've been there, I've done that, and I'm happy to be your realtor. And if you purchase something on the market, you don't have to pay me a dime because the commission is paid by the seller. So reach out, let's schedule a call, and I look forward to hearing from you. So this is the first house that I purchased. It is a 3-family in Shelton, Connecticut, and I purchased it with the intention of living in one unit and renting out the rest, which is house hacking. So it is a 3-family house. Like I said, it's got 2 one-bedroom units on the first floor, and it's got a 5-bedroom, 2 full bath in the second and third floor. Now, these were being rented by room when I purchased it, and I didn't change anything because the cash flow is just so much better with that, and I didn't think that it would be too difficult to manage it being that I was living there. So I want to run through the numbers a little bit so you can know what to expect as far as how much cash you'll need to secure a property at about this price. So the house was listed at $349 initially. It was on the market for a few months. They lowered the price a little bit, and I ended up going in with an offer at $290, and we ended up settling on $295 with a $2,500 seller concession. These are the closing costs. These are just closing costs. It's not going into the principal or the down payment of the house. It is just closing costs, and I want to take you through this because there are a lot that go into purchasing a house, and also especially with an FHA loan. So this $16,000 includes processing fees, it includes title insurance, it includes legal fees. You got to pay your attorney, of course. When you take out a loan on a property, you got to pay for an appraisal. When you use an FHA loan, you have to pay a mortgage insurance premium, and you also have to pay homeowners insurance. So with the mortgage insurance premium and the homeowner's insurance, you pay that up front, and then you accrue that in your monthly mortgage payments for the following year. I also had to pay prorated property and sewer tax. I closed in October of 2017, so I had to prorate through the rest of the year as those taxes were already paid in July through the end of the year. Because this is a rental and it already had tenants, I received a credit at closing for the security deposits, and we closed on October 6th, and he had already collected a little bit of rent, so I was also credited for the rent. I paid $4,000 as an initial deposit down on this house. Again, I received a $2,500 seller concession, which goes directly towards closing costs, and a little bit of the closing costs were able to be wrapped into the loan. The cash that I was required to have at closing was $12,329. So all in, $16,329. That was the cash I needed to purchase the property at $295,000 using an FHA loan. So not too bad. I know it's money, but I think this is doable for a lot of people, and there are also less expensive houses out there. I want to take you through actual numbers and full year numbers. So this is the 2018 P&L, profit and loss for this property. Goes through the entire year. So I'll start with the rental income. So keep in mind, I live here, so one of the units is not generating rent. I'm just not having to pay it. But I still receive quite a bit, and that's because of room rentals. I have month-to-month room rentals, so there is a little bit of in and out, which explains these are sort of different each month. And then I have one unit that has an annual lease that's pretty much the same each month. Even though there's a lot of in and out, typically it's very easy for me to fill. It only takes maybe a week or two for me to get a tenant in and screened and signing a lease. The only issue I had in 2018 was the month of December, where I had a couple of people leave in November, and I had a full month of December with 2 rooms vacant, so I wasn't receiving rent on those. But I was able to fill those in January and get back to full capacity, so not an issue for long. These are all of the expenses that are associated with the property. I'll go through these sort of briefly. I'm not going to go line by line, but 2018 was the first year that I owned the property. The first full year that I owned the property was also the first summer that I had the property. So I did do a little bit of maintenance outside. I did some landscaping. I bought some shrubs. I bought some mulch and all that. So that's some of these expenses. I also did a little bit of painting myself, and I paid someone to do some painting. So that might be some painting supplies in there. I ended up replacing a couple of doors, and I added a door on the living room and the room rental because it was adjoining to only one other bedroom. So I actually combined the living room and that bedroom to be one unit that I would receive a few extra $100 a month in rent on. So I ended up adding a lockable door there. And again, I did some painting, and I paid someone to do some painting. I painted most of one unit and a staircase and a couple of decks outside. This is the annual sewer tax, so that's just a one-time-a-year charge, not too big of an issue. Because I do room rentals, I do have higher utilities, so higher rent, but higher expenses as well. These utilities are utilities for just the room rental. So I pay for heat, which is gas heat. I pay for electric, which could be high for 5 people living there. And I pay for basic cable and internet. So I have a Comcast bill each month that I pay for that. And I also have a water bill that I pay for the entire house. That's included here as well. It's only $80 or $90 a month, which isn't too big of an issue. So at the end of the year, I had about $14,000 expenses. Not too bad. And so this is sort of my net cash. I'm not going to call this net profit. There are a couple other things here, but I'll call this my net cash at the end of the year. $31,000 almost net cash after all of the expenses. Not too bad considering I just put in $16,000. This is my mortgage payment each month. So principal, interest, PMI, tax, insurance, we're putting all that stuff, we're accruing for all of this stuff each month, so that's included in the payment. So $2,100 is what it came out to exactly. So when you deduct the $2,100, that's the full payment. That's including my principal pay down as well. This is what we come out with as net cash, $5,600 in a year. So not too bad, considering I'm only putting in $16,000. But what you're not seeing in this is the fact that I live in the building itself. So that's the key to house hacking. That's the idea of house hacking. You live in the building that you're renting out. You rent out other units. You receive cash that pays for all of your expenses, and it pays for your entire mortgage if you do it right. And if you do it well, you're sometimes left over with a little bit extra cash at the end of the year. But let's consider this. My unit would at least rent for $1,000 a month because it's the nicest unit in the building. If I were to go somewhere else and rent, I would at least be paying $1,000 a month, probably more. So when you factor that in, the fact that I don't have to pay any rent, you can add $1,000 a month, $12,000 in a year. So when you add that $12,000 to the $5,600, that's $17,632. That some is unrealized, but it's basically cash at the end of the year. Because that's cash I'm not having to pay, that's cash I'm receiving. So with all in cash to purchase of $16,329 at the end of 2018, that's more than recouped. And remember, this $17,000 isn't including the 3 months in 2017 where I was also profitable and not paying rent. However, this does not factor in probably the best part, and I think the most powerful part of real estate, which is the potential for appreciation. Whether it's forced or whether it's market, there is a lot of potential for appreciation. And being that you're putting down just this much cash, the value increase as a percentage is exponential to that cash that you're putting down. So when I purchased the house in October of 2017, I bought it for $295, and again I got a $2,500 seller concession, so reduced $2,500 from that. However, it appraised for $315,000. That's not typical. That's not normal, that it appraises that much higher than what you purchase it at, because the appraiser typically factors in the actual purchase price because that's what it actually sold for on the market. They factor in other things. They do typically put high weight on what the actual purchase price of that property is when factoring in the value. So it appraised $20,000 more than I purchased it for in 2017. In 2019, I was considering refinancing it. I was looking at the market, and I saw that the values had increased. Things were selling at a high price in Shelton. The multifamilies in Shelton were selling for great prices. So I wanted to take a look at what mine would be worth and if I can get out of an FHA, if I could do a cash out refi or something along those lines. So I had it appraised in January of 2019, and it ended up appraising at $330,000. Yeah, great, $15,000 over a little bit more than a year. But the way that I saw the market, I didn't think that was even close to being right. So I ended up getting his appraisal, and I reviewed it. And I saw that 2 out of the 3 comps that he was using didn't even have pictures of the interior. Keep in mind, when an appraiser looks at houses to compare your house to, they're looking on the MLS, so they're seeing, what houses are sold for, and they're going off their pictures, they're going off, the specs and the square footage and the rooms and all that stuff. But he was putting weight on properties that I had actually toured when they were listed on the market. So I had gone in these places, and I saw just, a mess, basically. A lot of improvements needed to be done right off the bat. My house had been updated in 2015, so not a full update, but it does have a new roof, it does have new burners, it does have new hot water heaters, and updated kitchens and bathrooms. So all that stuff was done in 2015, not that long before this, but the houses that he was comparing them to looked like they hadn't been updated in 30 years. I mean, they were falling apart, some of them. So I disputed the appraisal. I went after them, and I wrote all of my concerns up in a dispute, and I sent it to the bank and the appraiser, and they ended up reviewing it, and they ended up coming back at $350. So they increased it $20,000 from where they were. Now, I still wasn't fully satisfied. I thought it could go to probably $375 or so, because I saw a house next door that went for a little bit over $400,000, and it was a 3-family as well, similar condition, but it was a little bit more square feet and 1 extra bedroom. But it did go for over $400,000, so I thought mine might be able to go get appraised at $375. But anyways, I was happy considering the fact that the purchase price was $295 less concession, $292,500. It appraised for that much in a year and a few months. What you don't see on the P&L is the fact that my net worth, just because of the appreciation, increased by $57,500. So it's very powerful. And there's other ways. You can't always factor in, you can't always rely on the market to rise that fast. But again, I bought it well in the first place. It appraised at $315 when I bought it for $295, and it just went up from there. The market was doing well. So when you factor in, after 1 year, $17,000 fully covered the all-in costs and some. All of these payments, all of these mortgage payments include a portion of principal paydown. So I like to think of that as just increasing my equity in the house. And I get tax benefits every year from depreciation. It reduces my taxable income each year, and the appreciation can just continue into the future. So it's really a powerful, powerful tool to get started in real estate when there are very low down payment options. And where else can you put $16,000 into something, do very little work, and recoup more than that each year on an ongoing basis, and also increase your value by that much in just 1 year? It really is a powerful tool. House hacking is amazing. When you buy smart, you need to educate yourself. You need to be with the right people. But when you do it right, it is such a powerful tool to get started in real estate.